All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Skip Beat, episode 24.
Ren is having an issue.
A couple issues.
Yeah. He is not able to play the character or portray it to the director's standards.
No.
And in fact,
we never saw this coming.
Yeah, we never saw this coming. Wait, what? The
guy
emotionally backed up, clogged, person, young man has an issue with playing a character that's emotionally nuanced and vulnerable.
Oh,
what?
What? Are you kidding me?
Say it ain't so.
I love that it was something that was just so emphatically, flatly just told to him and the audience back by what's his name?
Laurie.
Takarada. Laurie,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And even after being told that, he then goes into it and thinking, no, I'll crush this like I always do. Oh, shit, it's not working. Yeah.
Oh, and everyone who was at the very least like watching this whole thing from the outside was like, oh, no, he's fine. It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Even Kyoko's like, he's never had to do a single reshoot.
Oh,
no. Reshoots, or 4 takes later,
And he just can't do it. Maybe, Kyoko, you and him have to figure things out.
Help
you gotta
him out, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he really admires you. He thinks the world of your acting and your ability to portray Mio.
You're inspiring him.
Indeed.
Actively.
Yeah.
So maybe inspire him in the right direction to like open up.
You can lead a horse to water.
200 chapters later.
No, she just goes. He's like, Kyoko, tell me whatever I have to do in order to fix this. I trust your judgment. Have you considered therapy? Really, whatever you say.
Yeah. Be honest too.
Yeah, right.
You don't need to pull my leg here.
Yeah.
But all right, everybody. Without further ado, let's get into this. Bro's going through it.
Oh, damn. Really shook him.
Yep.
He's even drinking whiskey on the rocks now. But until then...
Bro's actually crashing out.
Oh no, he's even missing other work.
Well.
Okay.
Now, obviously, this is an anime, so we can only have so many characters, involved in things. But I feel like this is also a really just sad reminder of how lonely a lot of these characters are.
Yes.
And that they don't actually have, like, close friends to go through this kind of stuff with.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Ren is kind of a solitary fellow. But that's kind of sad. Like,
that's the show business thing. It reminds me of when we were in LA the one time and the people that we talked to down there, they're, like, clearly, like, were locals. And the way it was just like, oh, yeah, they have no personal life. Like, it's just work and, like, unwinding from work, and that's it. It was all going so well.
Daijoubu desu. It's not just Tsuruga's career, it's the director's career too.
Just shoveling money into the fire.
It's been 2 days.
Okay. This track.
何度も違うパターンの勝樹を演じてみては自分に合う勝樹を探すみたいに
Yeah, what changed?
Something else.
But he did say that he looked up to you in this regard.
Oh my god.
Back to this asshole?
I can't with him.
Oh my god.
Sit down. Leave me alone.
Yeah, what's she like when she's not around him? Yeah.
仕事で驚くほど大人の顔するくせに急に甘えん坊になるんだから恐ろしいくらい普段通りだわ。京子ちゃんと鶴が蓮の共演を知ってその後は
俺には関係ない。あいつが誰と共演しようと。
Like I care, yeah.
まるで興味なさそうに。
I thought it was going to be more about, like, her getting success in general. What? Oh, okay, alright.
やってしまった。たく、何やってんだ俺の脳みそはよ。あいつが鶴が蓮と共演したからってバカっぷりみたいに。
Really?
He sets everything back up just so that he can kick his feet up on it.
Oh my god.
この俺を差し置いて芸能界一とか言われてる男だぜ。絶対相手にしね。
He's the most fuckable. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Oh my god.
The poster.
Right.
I love it. Oh, he does that behind closed doors. Mm-hmm. He doesn't want anybody seeing that.
Yeah.
ただ見てるだけ。やっぱり私にはそれしか。
I love that she still has this job, though.
Right.
Just a consistent, well-paying acting gig.
And she still got her hair dyed this way. Or wig on.
新人に何がわかる。立場をわきまえんかい。
God, I
Like-
love her dramatic
Yeah.
reenactments and imagination.
She was made for theater.
Uh-huh.
私が鶴賀さんより年上だったらな。無理やりにでも悩みを吐かせちゃうのに。先輩の命令だ。
Yeah. What?
Wait, who is it? Don the chicken outfit once more.
Wow.
The chicken outfit! It must be done!
Yes.
But maybe a chicken could.
Oh. No, I'm good. Yeah. Yes. Remember? Same spot and
Please
everything.
bring back the chicken.
Yes.
助かったよ。ありがとう。
Cluck it, we ball.
今の君は勝樹に振り回されて一体どうしたの？
すみません。
今の君じゃきっと何度やっても同じだ。なんだか焦りすぎてて思い切って休みを取ろう。
Gotcha.
Alright.
So that was the exact point when it was
Yep.
called off. Okay.
出てきてください。
Enjoy the role too.
Yes.
大丈夫。
君。
久しぶり。一人でどんよりして、また台本でわからないことでもあっ
Aha, nice.
僕には今更格好つける必要なんてないんですさ。
Amazing.
I'm so glad that we're bringing this back.
This is another scene from the show. No.
Oh
no,
my
of course
god.
not.
Yes. Right. How could I have ever doubted?
How is the show going? Yes, where is he? I wish to see how his performances are going.
Tell me where is Gandalf.
for I much desire to speak with him.
He crashed out big time, sir.
前の時とは悩みのグレードも違うものね。相談できることじゃないのかも。
したことがあるか。
Wait. He said something? That's so funny. She was in her own head and
Yeah,
missed.
didn't even hear it. Yeah.
恋をしたことがあるか。
Oh.
そんなどうでもいい恋バナじゃなくて恋バナ
Wait.
そういえば
Wait.
鶴ヶさんが
Maybe.
手伝ったのは勝樹の恋の絵
Maybe.
こういう君はもちろんあるんだろう僕なんかより全然経験ありそうじゃないか
No. He's never been in love.
この年で恋をしたことがないなんて。
I'm a natural.
At my age of 20 or whatever.
まるで説得力が恋したことがないって言った
改めて言うなよ。恥ずかしい。
Ah, she's spinning out just like.
Oh my god.
Double shock. Oh my god.
Great transition.
These are so good.
お前は本気で他人に惚れたことがないって言われたんだ。
社長さんのことね
And that would definitely throw someone off, because then it's like, wait, you're making me rethink all my past relationships.
But you do need to have reality be shown to you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll, live under that delusion.
惹かれてはいけないと思ってる相手に惹かれてしまう。そんなコントロールの効かない恋愛なんて、触れてはいけない相手に触れてしまった後の男の動揺なんてわからないから。どうしてもオリジナルの勝樹が頭をよぎる。オリジナル以上の演技がしたくて月ごもりを見たはずなのに、見なければよかった。技術で乗り切ろうとしたけどね、ダメだった。このまま役の気持ちがつかめなければ、俺は。
ただ見たこともないほどムカつく顔のゴキブリがいたものね
人が真剣に悩んでる。
Yeah, that is pretty rough.
私の腐った過去の恋バナでも一緒で
Hey, come on.
連れてゴキブリ大臣に夢中になって
Right.
随分と無責任じゃないか。
Fantastic.
Oh,
You're saved.
saved. Inhumane.
I'm sure the prop department will be able to make another.
ごまかしきれずに話してしまった
This
言わんこっ
dude.
ちゃねえ。待ててあと3日だな。
If he has not
主
risen,
役で撮れるシーンにも限りがある。あいつが役をつかめないようなら。
then we
他
can
の
the
役者に変え
project.
た方
Oh, okay.
Recast.
自分が何をおっしゃっているのか分かってらっしゃるのですか。
俺は当然のことを言っている。
それのどこが当然なんで
That's
す
what would
か。
happen with any other actor.
オリジナルを超えたいんだろう。君はこのドラマに監督生命をかけてるんじゃないのか。
So you can't let the show must go on then.
オリジナル以上の力を役者全員に求めるなら切り捨てろ。
Be vicious.
大丈夫。バレやしないから。
バレないわけないだろ無責任なこと言う
Wait a minute, that voice.
元はといえば、君の無責任
The
な
music.
song.
Oh my god. Da da. Bum 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 bum.
鶴ヶさんが何をどう悩んでるかは分かったけど、なおさらなんてアドバイスしたらいいか鶴ヶさんの気持ちを軽く
Right,
してあ
because
げる
your
ことし
your
か
luck with love hasn't exactly been great.
わずかなものだったとしても
聞いてもらって少し気が晴れた。
I mean,
ありがと
But it's still not going to address the root problem.
君ならきっと役の気持ちがつかめる僕が保証するよ
う。役の気持ちか。
wait. Or no, he's like, I never mentioned.
今まで自分が恋だと思ってたものが
Then, right, uh-huh.
ますます謎だよ。
So
恋
clearly,
だと判断するんだ。世界共通のマニュアルでもあるのか。
Oh, what you say here is gonna be
oh
big.
my god,
姿が見られて
oh my god.
そんな些細なことに幸せが伴えば恋なんじゃないかな
幸せ、例えばどうな
What is
What is
happiness?
happiness?
It's so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, uh-huh.
でももしかしたら初期症状を経験してるか
Let's go all the way back.
You'll have to go back to his childhood, maybe.
誰かのふとした表情や仕草を見て綺麗だなとか思わず見とれてしまったこととかないか
I mean, he has been in relationships before, so I would hope
Oh
so.
my gosh, brother.
Jesus
Brother.
Christ.
Nope, I don't think so.
No, never.
あれもしかして
Wow.
仮にあったとして
What does that mean? The seeds! Right, it isn't actual love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It could blossom into love. It could grow
Right.
into that.
Okay, all right.
Cool.
All right.
All
All
right.
it took was a chicken therapist.
Yep. Then we'll talk to a chicken before
They
going
talked to
therapy.
a therapist. Yeah.
I mean, having an animal to talk to about your stuff,
Oh, absolutely.
if that's what's necessary for you to process things out loud,
Yeah, and sometimes
most of the ways a therapist is having you just talk to yourself anyway.
right,
Yeah.
like there's the therapist, there's the in this case, the random person in a chicken costume.
Yeah.
But also sometimes that can just be like the random person on a bus or at a bar. You
True.
know? Where it's just like, hey, we both have security in the fact that we will never see each other again.
Yep.
Right? So we can get all kinds of real with each other that
Totally.
we would not with people in our regular lives
Oh,
because
totally.
we need to stay safe, right?
Yeah, one of my favorite random stranger conversations was literally at a bar, and I was just talking to this guy, and we were talking about like life, love, like just everything to do with just our passions and struggles. And we both kind of were like, all right, you know,
Yeah.
carpe diem, you know, go out there and,
Good luck.
yep, good luck.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
This is a start. Surya.
Yes.
The idea that you understand that the bare bones attraction, positive feeling association when you behold somebody like, I don't know, Kyoko, for instance,
Yeah, just, you know,
is
as a
the seeds
random-
of love.
Yep. I feel like Kyoko
They need to be watered, planted, and all that stuff,
Right,
and
right.
nurtured and given
Oh, no, no.
sunlight and time to shine, but
totally, but this is like we just had the discovery of fire.
I
Like-
know.
Like Kyoko
Prometheus
was like
came down
Yeah, exactly.
with what he had stolen from
and
the
it's,
gods.
and it's a tiny little bit and you know
Suna's like,
but,
"Whoa,
but Kyoko had been doing this with a stick
will
for a
nurture this
real
little
long
baby
time. Yeah. Right.
It's so gentle. It's delicate. If I blow it
You
too
know?
hard, it's gone.
Right.
Jesus. Oh, it's that hopeless, Kyoko. That's how hopeless this is.
I gotta say, like this episode, this show gets so much out of Kyoko's just responses to everything.
yes.
Like it,
She is like the goated anime reactor within the anime.
right,
you
like
know?
it is on the one hand fantastic comedy and levity for whatever the show is wanting to explore.
Right.
But two, it adds so much veracity to her current employment because like, you know, the idea of like, oh, just, you know, getting into show business and all
Sure.
that stuff. That's pretty wild, right? You know, and she's definitely had some wild experiences. But the idea that, someone like this, that is absolutely the kind of person
She
that
is
should
a
have been shipped off to
character.
Juilliard. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like, for fun, she does scenes with herself. Just when she's by herself. That's just what she does.
Yeah, that's
Just
so
'cause.
weird. I don't know who
Yeah,
does
yeah,
that.
I know, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
who would do that,
Who,
you know?
who does that?
Right,
Like, I
right.
don't know. Yeah. Huh.
And so now she's actually in a situation where that gets rewarded and properly recognized, right? And oh, hey, yeah, it is pretty special. It is pretty wonderful. Then over here, you have Ren. And
Resident dumbass.
my boy, my dude, my brother in Christ. This is...
You got things you've been carrying, and you gotta let them go. But you also gotta like, just
Like-
let the egg like kind of.
His head is
Like-
is more in the sand than like those people that the mobsters put into the barrels and then fill with cement and toss into the ocean. Like that's how just far into the darkness and the nothing he is right now.
Yeah,
But
and it's
he's
really-
starting to learn.
Yeah, and it's really sad if you like
Yeah.
pull all the comedy out of it, and you realize like he was a child actor. He ended up having a connection with someone that ended up really shaping in a lot of ways his own like confidence and stuff, and then he comes back to Japan, and he's actually getting the opportunity to rekindle the connection with that person, but it's different. It's disconnected, and he doesn't have the same like strength of connection there because she doesn't know who he is, and that he's the same person as Korn back then.
Oh yeah.
But even so, he's also changed so much himself that he can't really even tap into that again the same way. It's been years, and it's really sad. I feel like people go through this regardless of whether you've experienced love, not experienced love, on what gamut of the spectrum you are with regards to love experience and stuff. I feel like everybody grows up and hits that point where the fairy tale kind of romantic love and all that doesn't die, but it gets diminished. Right. Because you have the realism of being an adult, of growing up and going through all the problems of life and stuff.
You become a bit wiser and realize that maybe you shouldn't, throw your entire self-worth into every show that comes along, right?
Sure, yeah. There's nicely put. Yeah. In many ways. I think that's a tragedy of growing up, is that in some way your romance will diminish. You can obviously put it back in the ground and water it and do all that stuff again, but that will take work, that will take time.
Right.
And so I feel like for a lot of people, it's not that they're in such a caricature situation like Suruga is, where they're completely oblivious to it, but they're aware of how disconnected they are to that thing. And that's where they can relate to Suruga, is that it's the like, no, I remember something of what that was like, but for the life of me, I cannot channel it again. And that's kind of what he's like in this role as Katsuki, is he can't channel that. He's aware of it.
I would almost posit that the thing that he really has to do is not fall in love, because he doesn't have enough of an understanding of that.
Totally.
He needs to have his heart broken. Because
isn't that something literally the president said? Like, of just like you.
Oh
like,
no, yeah, he
mentioned
probably,
something like that.
Yeah, he probably did say something like that. But basically, like, because Ren has made his attempts to, explore this space, right? He has been in relationships before, right?
Yes.
But
short ones.
Yes. And they never got to that point of actual love, right? And maybe
the president called out why. In a lot of ways
exactly,
too.
very specifically. Now, maybe, aiming for getting your heart broken is not very actionable, but I think that might help Ren understand it a bit better, right?
Sure.
Because
he's very intellectually savvy.
Right, yeah, exactly.
He can break it down from the puzzle situation,
Right, and currently he's trying to break it down from the puzzle situation, right? And he's not really getting it.
No.
But, he certainly hasn't had his heart broken before, right? And, like, to actually have someone's existence and actions and, fully unmake you like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's where you'll be able to get that vulnerability that maybe needs to be displayed, on camera, right?
Right.
Where that's where you get the trepidation, not just because, like, there's the layers of the taboo of like, oh, I should or I shouldn't or whatever, right?
Oh, yeah.
But then there's also the idea of, if I even go there, what happens when suddenly I'm also able to be undone by like with the whole idea of like the teacher-student relationship or something like that, right? Not just the what will society think of me, all of that stuff, but what will I think of myself? How will I handle myself if I get into a situation like that and then, oh, hey, I get my heart broken, right? Like, that just compounds on it even more. And I feel like those sorts of things are the things that he's not considering because he hasn't experienced that kind of stuff, right? Like, the stress in a lot of ways that Kyoko is constantly experiencing as she's wondering what he's thinking about her, right?
Right.
Like, even though that's not necessarily the kind of thing you'd want in a healthy, relationship, that is showing that level of, head over heels care, right?
Sure.
For a person where it's their opinion of me is, just about everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
But okay, he's starting to get something he can grok.
He is.
The seeds of love. All right, cool.
That's a lot. I love Kyoko as Bo in this situation here, and
Yes.
that she is, through this layer of indirection, able to get him to, process it out, grok it, if you will. And yet she has to kind of also, like, hold back a little bit and make sure that she's coaxing him to speak kind of like a proper therapist, because she doesn't want her own identity to be revealed here.
Exactly.
Which is just a fun little dynamic here, in that generally I would say the best writing is on display when the set dressing and all the stuff in the background is gone and it's just people talking.
Sure. Yeah.
And this is kind of a comedic form of that, in that she gets to be Bo.
Right, and
during this setup here.
And the idea that the love interest can be talking to the person who's in love to help them discover that they're in love with the person that they're now talking to without
revealing and realizing.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, while Kyoko herself does not necessarily realize what kind of feelings she would have for Ren if she actually has them.
Yeah.
There is fully the possibility that Ren is more in love with Kyoko than she is with him right now.
Oh, I think that is exactly the case. I think it's a situation where, because of their professional dynamic, there is too much fear and there is too much blocking the actual feelings from developing that much. She's absolutely attracted to him. She's absolutely enamored by his, acting ability, by his professionalism, by his stature, all these other things. But it's still through that layer of, he's my acting senpai, basically.
Right.
He's somebody that I look up to and I'm emulating and I'm wanting to draw from, but I give back to him because I'm so grateful for how much he's supported me along this journey, despite it seeming a lot of times like he was being antagonistic. And she doesn't understand in a lot of ways why he's been so supportive, because it's contrasted by the times in which he's been hypercritical.
Right.
So it causes this weird complex where she's like, I don't actually
know
what to get from his feelings with regards to me. And that keeps her, in a lot of ways, probably a little bit guarded with her own feelings being too expressed and vulnerable to him.
On top of her just generally having, infinitely more love experience than him.
Oh, way more.
And also,
infinitely more.
Right, yeah, because, 0. And so then being able to handle that situation a lot better. Whereas I feel like in Ren's case, it's his very inexperience with it that is part of what's making him fall for her, if that makes sense. Because I think if he had been more familiar with, actually, I deeply enjoy this person's company. I really care about them. All that kind of stuff, right?
Sure.
Then I think he wouldn't be as sort of taken by taken by surprise.
To bring a little bit of the past into this, I think it's also a thing of where, because he doesn't have much love experience, it's not even necessarily that he's in love with her. It's the idea that this is a magical reuniting for him of somebody who was a very special person when he was young, and then ended up being a special person for them, and then they reunite, and he's like, she has no idea who I am.
Right.
I don't know how to bring this up, probably without being weird or maybe ruining some aspect of the reuniting here. But also, I don't really know how I feel about this. It's just something that was a really tender moment for me before I ended up leaving, and I got to process a lot of my own maybe fears and worries about going to the US and stuff. And so he's too delicate with it. He doesn't want to touch it because then it might break. And he probably also loves the idea that she's going into acting. It's not actually anymore for show or something like that.
Yeah, for revenge or whatever. It's just because, acting's great and she loves it.
And his thing has probably been that he's been so lonely while acting here. And he's like, oh my gosh, we might actually become best friends, and then we can help each other and be there for each other during this whole thing. Right. This is exactly what I've been wanting.
And it's with the person who is the one that I was closest to way back when. Yeah.
That he could talk to about all this stuff.
That reads like a fantasy story.
Yeah, it reads like a fantasy fairy tale for him. And yet, because he's not aware of the feelings within him with regards to the potential deeper connections, or those seeds of love as they're being called here.
Right.
I think it's something where, he's aware of how blunt he can be and doesn't want to exert force on it and make it actually break and fall apart.
Taking the seeds of love analogy a step further, it might feel a bit weird at first.
Okay.
what's the difference between a weed and a, like, you know, something that you're just growing in a garden, right? The weed isn't intended, right? It's not
Okay.
supposed to be there, but it's not necessarily fundamentally different.
You didn't plant it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You have not been caring for the weed, but the weed is there regardless.
Sure.
And so right now, this love for Kyoko, or this thing that's sort of potentially turning into love for Kyoko, is functioning like a weed because it does not actually have its place, right? He isn't aware of it, and so because of that, he can't water it, he can't prune it, nothing like that.
Right.
And so it's just kind of running rampant and causing all of these issues.
Yeah.
And so that's what needs to be dealt with. It needs to actually be something that he can then look at and be like, okay, what's my plan for this, right? Is this going to be a thing that I allow in my garden or not?
Sure.
You know? And so hopefully, now that he's clued into the idea that it is at least tangentially related to love, then he can start looking at it in that context and start addressing it, right? And
looking at that context, yes,
hopefully
yes. Addressing
start,
it. No,
you know,
no.
a lot of not saying that much kind of terms, you know, where it's the hey,
Yeah, I'm gonna fire with Cupid's longbow and, you know, put it up in the
Right.
air and arc it up, and then eventually it'll come down and land somewhere.
Cupid's longbow, more like, you know, Cupid's satellite drop, and be like, okay, I'm gonna time this, and
Cupid's more like satellite launch because it's going to go into orbit, and eventually, you know, the
It'll
power
reach-
on the satellite will end up pulling it back to the Earth, and it will actually land and
yeah, there
have
you go,
impact.
there you go, yeah.
But until that time, you know,
It's still
10,000
in-
years from now, it's
it's
still
still
going to
in
be
deep
just
orbit.
an
Yeah.
orbit satellite thing circling around truth and beauty and everything. And it's
Right.
like, I wonder where I should be going.
But right now you've got a time
feel
limit. You've
lost.
got 3 days, and oh hey, you've already
Used
wasted
2.
away 2 of them.
Yeah.
So I think in
Yeah.
this next episode, that's also the end of the season,
And
of what we have
The
as an
anime
anime.
thus far, yeah.
I think you got to figure this out, Brandon. I think you got to figure it out pronto.
Pronto.
Yeah. So
Yeah. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon to get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb,
I'm Jacob.
and we'll see you all next time.